The Ones were a family of immensely powerful force-wielding beings who resided in the mystical realm of Mortis during the time of the Clone Wars. Their origins, however, stretch much further back, connected directly to the Celestials, a mysterious ancient species believed to have possessed the ability to reshape the galaxy itself. Millennia ago, the Celestials were said to have created the universe itself, moving the planets in place, creating the galaxy as we know it. Little is known about the Celestials otherwise, but the Ones are believed to be the only physical incarnations of the Celestials' will. 3 immortal entities made up the Ones, being the Father, the Son, and the Daughter. The Father served as the keeper of balance in the Force. His children, the Son and Daughter, represented the dark and light sides respectively. In the earliest of days, before even the formation of most of the known galaxy, the Ones were said to have lived in harmony on their original world. On this planet, there were 2 powerful Force nexus, the Font of Power and the Pool of Knowledge. The Father, understanding the corrupting nature of these nexus, warned his children never to touch or come in contact with either nexus, as that would tilt the balance. But in time, both children disobeyed. The Son drank from the font, and was granted immense dark side power. The Daughter, in turn, bathed in the pool, and became a conduit of the light side. With these new powers, the siblings each claimed territory and began to war against each other, with the Father struggling to hold them together. Their powers were incredible. They were embodiments of the Force, and could create living matter out of thin air and kill off anything as well. They could cast any type of Force lightning and mastered all sorts of Force abilities. They could transform into creatures like a bat or a griffin. They could also force their will upon mortal beings or transfer their essence into them, hiving their minds together to serve their will. They were beyond any Jedi or Sith. They were gods. For centuries, the entities would fight each other, until one day, a mortal woman somehow arrived on their world. Initially, she served the family and became their servant. Eventually, though, she became known as the Mother after having gained the adoration of the Father. As the Mother, she nurtured the family and managed to bring a temporary peace between the Son and Daughter. She even guided the Son to channel his destructive nature into creation, using his Force lightning to carve chambers into their home. But, as the only mortal among them, she aged, while the others remained timeless. Her influence began to fade, and the conflict between the siblings resumed. The Mother grew desperate to remain with her family, and seeked to become immortal just like them. One day, while the Father was distracted to once again separate his children in one of their clashes, she ran off to drink from the Font of Power, and also bathed in the Pool of Knowledge. The Father arrived just when she stepped into the pool and pulled her out, but it was too late. The corruption from both nexuses, the power promised by the font and the pool, corrupted her. Something twisted, and she transformed into something far beyond even the children. She became Abeloth, a monstrous immortal embodiment of chaos. Immediately, Abeloth turned on her family, subjugating both the Son and Daughter with her own overwhelming power. The Father intervened, rescuing his children, and fled the planet, leaving Abeloth stranded and alone. To ensure she could not escape, the children constructed several weapons like Centerpoint Station, weapons powerful enough to move entire planets. With these, they formed the Maw, a cluster of black holes around their former planet in order to trap and imprison Abeloth. Afterward, the Ones relocated to Mortis, the pocket realm separated from the temporal galaxy. The Father hoped that by withdrawing his family from the physical universe, he could maintain balance between his children and prevent their power from tearing reality apart. Mortis was meant to be both sanctuary and prison. For hundreds of thousands of years, the Celestials had disappeared from the galaxy. All that was left behind were their creations, such as Centerpoint Station. During the Age of the Clone Wars, though, the Ones reappeared once again. Anakin Skywalker, the prophesied Chosen One, had appeared, and the Father summoned him to Mortis. He believed Anakin to be powerful enough to replace him, as despite their immortality, they did seem to age, although at an incredibly slow pace. The Father wanted Anakin to continue to maintain the balance between his son and daughter. In a test, Anakin indeed was able to dominate the Son and Daughter, even in his mere mortal state. However, he was still inexperienced at this point. During the following events, though, the Son, in an attempt to kill the Father, accidentally kills the Daughter. The death of a Celestial was only possible with the Dagger of Mortis, a weapon that had been locked away and not accessible before the arrival of Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, who accidentally helped the son retrieve it. With the death of the daughter, the embodiment of the light side, any balance on Mortis was disrupted. Henceforth, all plants died off, and the entire world was cast into darkness. The father, realizing that his son was too dangerous to exist unchecked, turned the dagger on himself. By ending his own life, he distracted the son just long enough for Anakin to strike him down. With the son and father dead, the Ones were no more. Mortis itself vanished in a blinding light, returning the Jedi trio to their previous moment in space as if nothing had happened. All physical evidence of Mortis and its inhabitants were erased. The consequences of the death of the Ones were catastrophic. With their death, the balance of the Force was in complete disarray. As Anakin at that point had refused to take the father's place to balance the galaxy, a lot of chaos and destruction resulted from it. The balance was still tilted even after the death of Anakin, as it's unclear in what way he held the balance together. Eventually, Centerpoint Station was destroyed, and without the Ones to help imprison Abeloth in the Maw, she came free. The Celestial of Chaos was upon the galaxy. Abeloth's escape was set in motion with that. The destruction of Centerpoint Station during Jacen Solo's war destabilized the Maw, weakening her prison and finally freeing her. Freed at last, she began to actively manipulate the galaxy. Her powers were immense, as she was able to use Force psychosis to bend the mind of living beings across the entire galaxy. With that, she turned young Jedi into rogue agents who started acting out and also causing chaos on Coruscant, sowing distrust between the Republic government and the Jedi. Grandmaster Luke Skywalker eventually learned of her existence and pursued her across the galaxy in an attempt to stop her. However, it was no easy task. Abeloth was able to transfer her essence into other beings and controlling them. This meant that even when they managed to kill one of her avatars, she was still present in another host. Also, most Force attacks that were powerful enough to kill any mortal being seemed to barely affect her at all. In one instance, she easily reflected a Sith's lightning back without even moving a finger, incinerating the Sith on the spot. She mastered any Force ability on either the light or dark side, and was even able to use an ability to fold space in order to teleport other beings around her for short distances. In one instance, she controlled the plant life, using the poisonous flora of her world to literally rip apart Sith warriors. Also, she fed on the Force essence of other beings, and was even able to take their form, just to show what feats she was capable of. She continued to sow chaos, bending Sith and Jedi alike to her will, making them fight for her, all in a bid to extend her influence on the galaxy, wanting to reshape it according to her vision. Her actions were a danger to the very existence of the galaxy, and both Sith and Jedi agreed that she had to be stopped. Luke and other Jedi and Sith in the galaxy slowly managed to defeat different avatars of her, and with each one defeated, Abeloth grew weaker, as with each killed avatar, a part of her Force essence had been destroyed. Annoyed by Luke's constant struggles against her, Abeloth triggered a massive earthquake on Coruscant, killing billions. Her focus then shifted toward recreating the family she had lost. She kidnapped Ben Skywalker and a Sith called Vestara Kai, wanting to force them to drink from the font of power and bathe in the pool of knowledge, and become her children. But they resisted and started fighting her physical form on the planet. Meanwhile, Luke and Darth Krayt arrive on her planet and battle her spiritual body. Although they seemed outmatched, Ben and Vestara managed to defeat her physical form, and another Jedi team destroyed her last physical avatar. Abeloth was thus temporarily weakened by the loss of her bodies, and Luke managed to tap into a complete oneness with the Force. With that, he defeats Abeloth and pushed her into an abyss. In the aftermath of the battle, Luke was heavily wounded and close to death. He spent 3 months in a Bacta tank to recover himself. Also, as he feared Abeloth might return, he sent his Jedi out into the galaxy to find the Dagger of Mortis, as he believed that was the only way to truly end Abeloth for good. The story ends here, as Disney bought Lucasfilm and we never got an official ending for it. But, having explained the feats of Abeloth, she stands as one of the most powerful beings in Star Wars without any doubt. The Force Priestesses were 5 ethereal beings who embody the more cosmic side of the Force. They serve as representations of the bridge between the living force, which is experienced by all living beings, and the cosmic force, which governs the grand design and destiny of the universe. They reside in the wellspring of life, a realm believed to be the birthplace of the midichlorians, and the nexus where the living and cosmic force converge in perfect harmony. The priestesses take on the 5 emotional forms of serenity, joy, anger, confusion, and sadness, shifting between these personas in appearance and tone. Each of these representing a facet of the Force's emotional spectrum. Some theories even suggest that they were one being altogether, one that chose to show itself in these 5 forms purely as a symbolic measure. During the Clone Wars, Jedi Grandmaster Yoda encountered these beings while undertaking a spiritual journey that led him to their mysterious planet located at the heart of the galaxy. The priestesses told Yoda that they watched over every powerful Force being in the galaxy and that they possessed the knowledge of life after death. They oversee and guide individuals of immense Force potential, choosing only the most worthy to receive their wisdom. In Yoda's case, they grant him the ability to retain his consciousness after physical death, which is how Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin managed to become Force ghosts later. Furthermore, they don't seem to have a real physical form, as their robes seem to be merely symbolic measures for Yoda to better understand them. It doesn't seem to be possible to attack them nor kill them, as they are entirely one with the Force. This is very unlike the Celestials, who all seem to have physical forms that, although being immortal, are able to be destroyed. They seem to be beyond even the Celestials, as they were neither dead or alive, but still able to interact and shape decisions in the galaxy. The Bendu was a mysterious being residing on the remote planet of Attalon, far removed from the political struggles and wars of the galaxy. The Bendu described himself as the one in the middle, existing in a state of perfect neutrality within the Force as he didn't align with the light or the dark, embracing both sides in harmony. It's unknown how old the Bendu is, but it's likely that he existed for centuries already. Also, it's unknown if he was born in the form of his buffalo-like monolith, or rather chose to adopt this form eventually. But I'd say the latter is the more likely answer. Despite not wanting to get involved in any matters of the greater galaxy, as he only sought knowledge for himself on the Force, the Bendu offered guidance to any Force-sensitive being who sought his help, regardless of their affiliation. He wanted to help these beings overcome their fears and struggles. He always sought out new knowledge and was deeply curious about the teachings and philosophies of both Jedi and Sith. He was, after all, the one in the middle and couldn't be corrupted by either side. He was beyond any struggle between light and dark. The Bendu was incredibly powerful and seems to be connected to both the living and the cosmic Force. This connection grants him visions of the future, as seen with his warning given to Thrawn, and he was able to be at peace with the Krinka spiders on Attalon, even controlling the nature around him. His greatest feat in controlling the living Force was when he dissolved his physical form and merged with the elements to transform himself into a massive Force storm. When Thrawn eventually shot the Bendu out of the sky, he came crashing down to the surface and lay there seemingly dying. His entire life, he sought to keep himself away from conflict, but at last it had reached even him. The Bendu then vanished into the Force, and his voice echoed through the battlefield, hinting that he probably wasn't dead, but rather had transcended back into the Force. It's unclear what exactly happened to the Bendu, if he had indeed died or just chose to disappear, and if he could reappear in physical form whenever he felt like it. Anakin Skywalker is obviously the chosen one to bring balance to the Force. We all know his story of going from the little slave boy on Tatooine to becoming a fully fledged Jedi Knight, becoming a Republic war hero, falling to the dark side, committing countless atrocities before finally redeeming himself by destroying Palpatine and the Sith, which also ends his own physical life. After his death, Anakin last emerged as a Force ghost, and with that, for the longest time we didn't have any other lore on Anakin. In the Ahsoka series, though, we get a glimpse that he's far more than just a mere Force ghost. It's unclear what exactly Anakin is at this point, but he seems to have transcended any being in the known galaxy, and is certainly on the same level of the Mortis gods, or considering that he's able to control the things through the world between worlds, he might be in a tier all by himself. He is certainly more than any Jedi Force ghost or Sith spirits, as he seems to be able to interact with the galaxy and alter events that happen in it. Most likely, he's taken the role of the Father now, the master of balance between the light and dark side. His potential for that role was already shown during the Mortis arc in the Clone Wars. One popular theory even says that he might be like the Priestesses, something akin to a cosmic guardian and divine embodiment of balance within the Force itself. Add to that the fact that Anakin now has complete control over his identity. He can toggle between his Vader persona and his Jedi self effortlessly. He's both Anakin and Vader, fully aware and in balance with both sides of himself. He has clarity and has walked both paths of the Force. He doesn't lean light or dark anymore. He is the balance, just like the Father and just like Bendu. And he seems to have taken up the mantle of teacher and guardian of the beings in the galaxy. Just like how the Force Priestesses guided Yoda, Anakin now serves as a mentor from beyond, guiding Ahsoka. Anakin also seems to be able to observe the galaxy from outside time. He knew what happened to Ahsoka, including her fight with Balin's skull, and even anticipated her arrival, meaning he probably even could see a certain part of the future. Thus, he certainly is connected to the cosmic force, and can foresee the events that'll likely transpire. Hell, it even seems like he was able to resurrect Ahsoka, even though she fell into the water from an insane height and was drowned in there for several hours. He's also able to manipulate Ahsoka's form, age her up or down, strip her of her weapons, and return her lightsabers to her when she comes back to the real world. To sum it up, Anakin now can reshape time and space around certain people, resurrect people, change bodies and memories, and create entirely new realities. The way he interacts in the world between worlds is also unlike anything we've seen before, as he doesn't seem to need any of the portals, but rather seems to be the owner and in control of that realm. If those aren't the most powerful feats ever seen, then I don't know what more to tell you. Anakin is the son of the Force. He's the one sent by the Force, the Chosen One, and the most powerful being in all of Star Wars. And I'm happy it is that way, thus I really wanted to include him on this list. In Battlefront 2, when Anakin launched, DICE made him the most overpowered character ever, and that's how it should be. Anakin is him, and you can't change my mind. The Bedlam Spirits only appeared once in the comic in the EU, but their power is probably even beyond Anakin. Their story unfolds when Princess Leia, while fleeing from Imperial stormtroopers, ends up on a strange moon-like planet. There, Leia and the stormtroopers stumble upon 4 beings: Tilotny, Horlis, Cold Dandasine, and Splendid Ap. These beings seem to be nothing less than the literal gods of the Star Wars universe. They spoke of themselves in the third person and were able to manipulate the very fabric of time and space with little to no effort. Funnily enough, though, the Bedlam Spirits seem to be preoccupied with a contest of egos, arguing among themselves over who has created the most impressive things in all of existence, rather than actually having a plan or plotting something. Once they notice Leia and the stormtroopers, the spirits are intrigued to see these lesser beings before them. Immediately, the 4 spirits start arguing with who of them have created these specific shapes, referring to Leia and the stormtroopers. Tilotny, the green spirit in the shape of a female woman, claimed that it was her who had created the humans, referring to them as movers. This notion is immediately challenged by Horlis, who called her talentless for copying the same shape over and over again, referring to how all humans have the same shape. Angered by this, Tilotny immediately turns one of the stormtroopers into a solid crystal to show that she could improve upon the shapes. She then decides to improve Leia by turning her heart into a diamond, killing her. As if that weren't enough, she fuses the remaining 2 stormtroopers into a single body, killing them both instantly as well. The other Bedlam spirits then make fun of Tilotny, noting sarcastically that none of the movers are moving anymore. Apparently bored by the mess they've caused, they decide that throwing shapes is now overrated and prepare to leave. As they vanish, they instruct Splendid Op to clean up the situation. In a final display of power, Splendid Op restores Leia and the stormtroopers back to life, returning them to their original forms as though nothing had happened. With that, the Bedlam spirits vanish as if they were never there, leaving Leia and the stormtroopers perplexed whether or not the events they just bore witness to were even real or not. Obviously, these guys operate on a level of power beyond any comprehension, considering they can just create and manipulate events in an instant. They seem to have complete control over time and reality, and can casually alter everything in the galaxy. Definitely a more fascinating aspect of Star Wars, although I think it's for all the better if we never ever consider these guys canon for the sake of continuity and the timeline of Star Wars. With that, this video is concluded. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like and subscribe. Until next time.